Hello, my name's Callum Taylor, and today I'm going to cover a few of the who, what, when, why, where and hows of volunteer policies. We'll start with what is a volunteer policy? Volunteer policy is a document which covers your relationship with volunteers, covering from how you recruit them to any support and advice you give them as they carry on volunteering for you. Your volunteer policy should cover a wide range of topics, including but not limited to how you recruit volunteers, any training or induction you expect them to undertake, any expenses they're entitled to claim, and who is responsible for the management and support provided to the volunteers. It will also cover any procedures you expect them to follow if they're wishing to make a disciplinary or complaint against your organisation. Likewise, it will also cover the course of action you'll take if you have any concerns about the behaviour of a volunteer. For example, it's becoming very common these days for volunteers to run afoul of social media policies by engaging in abusive or offensive behaviour online. You will use the volunteer policy to guide your actions in taking any disciplinary action which you feel is appropriate. Next we'll move on to the why. Why do I need a volunteer policy? A volunteer policy will make sure that you're treating all your volunteers equally and fairly, and will also help protect you against any legal action. Sometimes when groups don't have proper volunteer policies in place or aren't correctly followed, they can lead to treating their volunteers like employees. An example of this is in 1997, the Migrant Advice Service was successfully sued by a former volunteer as they were paying her £25 a week expenses even though she had no expenses she needed to claim. Because of this, she was able to sue them for unfair dismissal when the volunteering came to an end, and the Employment Tribunal allowed her to sue them as an employer because the £25 a week, as it wasn't covering a specific expense, was treated as a wage. A good volunteer policy will make sure that you are treating your volunteers equally and fairly and will hopefully help protect you from any legal action. Next we can move on to the how. How will my policy help me and my volunteers? As I've mentioned, it will help clearly establish a relationship with your volunteers and will help guide you in any action you take when interacting with volunteers. It will also help make your organisation seem more professional. Lack of professionalism is cited as the third largest reason for volunteers ending their volunteering with a group. A policy like this will make you seem more professional and more well respected. Next we'll move on to who. Who does a volunteer policy cover? It covers everyone who volunteers in your organisation. This can be quite surprising to some people as to who counts as a volunteer. If you have tea ladies, if you have committee members, if you have volunteer drivers who take people to and from a place for someone else's benefit, they count as a volunteer. Next we can move on to where. Where can I find out more information about volunteer policies? Well, a template will be provided in the link just below this video, and if you want to find out more about being a volunteer manager, Volunteer Cornwall has its own volunteer management courses which are accredited. Again, you can find the link to this just below the video. Thank you, that's my time. I hope I've answered a few of the questions about volunteer policies. Have a good day.